Determine the period and amplitude for the following periodic functions. Okay. If we consider this to be the starting point, then a complete wave has a top and a bottom and back to the middle. This is the end of the first cycle, not here. It's got to be a piece that if you just copy-pasted it over and over would give you the repeating wave. If I just did this, I'd just get a row of triangles. I wouldn't get the zigzag effect that we're looking for here. So from there to there is a complete cycle. How long does it take to get through one? 8 units. So the period for this one is 8. They don't say if that's 8 seconds or 8 years, but anyway, it's 8 time units. The amplitude is the distance from the middle of the wave to its top, or from the middle of the wave to its bottom. So you can think of it as either how high are the hills or how deep are the valleys. In this case, it's pretty easy to eyeball it and say that the amplitude is 10. Now, eyeballing is not always easy, as we're going to see with the next example, and so there is a formula for finding the amplitude as well. The formula is that the amplitude is your maximum value minus your minimum value divided by 2. So for this wave, the maximum is 10 minus the minimum is negative 10 divided by 2. That comes out to 20 over 2, which amazingly enough is 10. Overkill for a question like this where the amplitude is very obvious, but you'll be glad you have this later when we start giving you strange-looking asymmetric waves. Speaking of which, here's a strange-looking, slightly asymmetric wave. If its starting point, I considered using this as my starting point, but then I looked ahead and here's what happens. Bottom to top to, where is that? Is that exactly 5? I'm not sure. And I'm not sure where this is either because they didn't label their entire x-axis. So this is technically the distance of the period, but it's not an easy place to measure, so I'm not going to use it. If I start at the very bottom here, though, from that minimum all the way up and all the way back down to the next minimum, that's the period too, and that pretty clearly is from 0 to 6. So I'm going to use that and say that the period is 6. You can measure the period from maximum to maximum. You can measure it from this spot to the corresponding spot on the next wave, anywhere you like, but it's got to be somewhere where you can read numbers accurately or it's no good. Okay, so the period is 6. The amplitude, the trouble with this one is they don't have the middle laid out very obviously. The sawtooth wave, we obviously had equal amounts of triangle above and below the axis. That's not true here, and so now the formula helps out. And it tells us that the amplitude is our maximum value, which is 6, minus our minimum value, which is negative 2, all over 2. That's 8 divided by 2. It looks like our amplitude is 4.